Klimt was the same. I mean, look at him. I mean, he did hundreds of pictures of women masturbating. Now, you know, they didn't have wank mags back then, so this is probably him, you know, satisfying his urges. You know, is this a bad thing, or do we just elevate it to something higher than pornography because it's by the great Klimt? I don't know. And then the aptly named George Gross, who did a lot of images like this, and they trying to be grotesque. They're kind of grotesques of kind of what people get up to. And but this thing, this kind of illustrative style starts to take it much more into pornographic realm. I mean, you can see people finding this sexually stimulating. That was their thing. And then here we go at the back. So la la la. I got to remember why I put this image up. Really. There we go. I was going to read my notes. Right, so, you know, there was no question that this, or even Gross's images aren't, you know, they're well-made artistic images, and they are, you know, Shunga is, you know, it's really good. Is it obscene? I don't know. There's something that, a lot of this, these works, I mean, this is I think about 17th century, 18th century. It's basically someone doing pretty much the same as me with the Great Wall of Vagina, but a long, long, long time ago. And, you know, is it obscene? I don't know. But there's something that these things share very often, and that's these ridiculously exaggerated genitals, which, you know, it's just silly, frankly. So, Hokusai, who's more famous for doing things like this, also did lots of dirty pictures. And, I mean, this one is a worry. I never noticed the little second guy here for ages. You spot him there? So it's like a sort of father and son tag team going on there. Once again, you know, these crazy exaggerated genitals. Now there's no question that this stuff is art. I mean, it's got high artistic merit. It's also very much intended to be pornographic as well. So what I'm saying. I'm kind of saying in this that it's kind of impossible to decide. So this Shunga tradition continues today in Japanese art, animated art. Hentai is basically pornographic manga. And, you know, again, there's this obsession with exaggerated genitals. Is this erotic? I mean, no. But, I don't know, maybe. It's not to me to say. And then there's the whole tentacle thing. They're still, you know, going right back to the octopus from Hokusai. This continues. Yeah. And then, you know, yeah, it's all pixelated. This is the thing. So they pixelate the genitals, but to what end? And what are they actually accomplishing here? We don't know what's going on, or something. And there's this sort of thing now that, you know, because the sort of graphic imagery, the cartoon imagery that we saw, you can sort of see it becoming more and more realistic. There comes a point where it starts to look just like photographic images. And that's kind of one of the problems that we have, is how, you know, pornography is the main medium for erotic imagery and sexual imagery. And so things that start to look a lot like photographs start to look a lot like pornography. It's impossible to avoid that. And so, I mean, the thing is, they're technically very proficient. I mean, I couldn't draw like this, either on a computer or by hand. So artistically, they have, you know, technical merit. But is it, you know, I mean, from a distance you think it was a photograph, apart from these silly exaggerated genitals again. Well, I don't know why I put that there. Just thought it was funny. So we'll just rest on that for a minute and think about our childhood. Does it ruin it for you? I don't know. I mean, come on, this cannot be pornographic, right? It's just silly. And I think one of the things about about sex and pornographic images is that you can be really silly with them. It doesn't have to be about trying to arouse you. I don't think anyone's going to go home and go, "Oh, I'm going to look up some, you know, Simpson porn." It's just like, it's just funny stuff.
Someone who does that.
There probably are people. They go, "Really?"
No, well, they do say.
There must, if you've thought of it, someone's done it, I expect. Yeah, this is the problem. But this obviously would fall foul of just about every obscenity law in most countries. But it's not obscene, it's just silly, you know. So, and then Tom of Finland. Now he's really famous, so all his pictures look a bit like this. And again, there's this obsession with exaggerated genitals. It just doesn't stop, you know. And this is, I mean, I think the thing is, this is deliberately trying to be provocative and sexy, and you know, it's just, this is the problem. But the thing about cartoon is you can start to do things that you can't do in real life. And that's, I think, where this whole sort of style can be quite scary. I mean, what the fuck is this all about? You know, this is not trying to entertain. This isn't funny like Bart Simpson. I find this stuff really scary. I mean, I don't even know what to say, but this is what you can do. So when you've got this graphic style, you can take your imagination anywhere you go. Obviously, the human imagination is capable of all kinds of weird shit. But obviously, you can't do this to porn models. So if you want to make really obscene pornography without being, you know, arrested for killing people, then you draw it. And of course, things can be drawn very realistically these days. So I'm just kind of going back to the whole, you know, again, pixelated genitals, the whole bondage thing. And I just, you know, was thinking about, you know, bondage as an art form, which it is. You know, people take, you know, shibari work very seriously as a high art form, but obviously it's obviously been subverted by pornography because it's got naked ladies in it, so that obviously means that people are going to get excited. But, you know, I'm trying to take this on a loop, so where you kind of show how it can come back to being a serious art form. So, I mean, look at this. I don't know if you know this guy, he's called Garth Knight, and he does a lot of stuff like this. I mean, these are boulders suspended here. This is not polystyrene. And I don't think anyone, I mean, this is really taking bondage as far as you can go, I think, as an incredible form of art. I mean, I do think these are absolutely stunning images, which, you know, sort of gravity defying with these boulders and these women. I think it's beautiful. I want one in my house, apart from you'd have to keep replacing the girl, I guess, or get a plastic one. But this is something, you know, the thing about photography is that it has these, you know, sort of limitless possibilities within, you know, you know, to go from, I mean, certainly not pornographic images like this, but using what can be a pornographic style, but just doing something else with it to make it, which is much more artistic. So, I'm going to sort of focus a little bit on photography and how, you know, it's been used, well, I guess since it began, to sort of create these, you know, quite disturbing images. This is Hans Bellmer, who did a lot of stuff like this. Again, I think quite disturbing. Is it erotic? I don't know. It's certainly, you know, on the edge again. And then Muybridge, all he did was studies of people in motion. Some of it was considered quite shocking because it had naked people in it at the time. This is just before the turn of the century. And, you know, some of them are actually hilarious. Sort of men wrestling, stuff like that. This is sort of some of the very earliest images of naked people, photographs. And, you know, some people thought it was pretty awful. All he was trying to do is be scientific in his, it's all against a grid, you know, so everything's kind of measurable and stuff, and people still use these today as studies in motion. So, Man Ray, again, you know, the sort of nude in photography as not pornographic nudes in photography. Helmut Newton, more of the same. Spencer Tunick, again, lots and lots of nudity, but nothing pornographic going on here. I'm in here, I'm somewhere there, I think. It's quite far away. I found what was more disturbing was doing it than actually looking at these pictures. I actually found being naked with 600 people at 6 o'clock in the morning in London pretty awful. And he made us all lie down, face down, to begin with, and then turn over, and I can tell you, after your willy's been on a freezing cold floor for about 20 minutes, you don't have a willy anymore. And it really annoys me that some of them do, you know, so this is like a sort of personal problem, obviously.